Making headlines, President calls upon pertinent agencies to elevate the foreign transaction limit on debit cards issued by the Bank of Maldives to $1,500 for Umrah pilgrims traveling to Makkah during Ramadan. President seeks parliamentary consultation on a proposal to reduce the salaries of officials within independent institutions, the judiciary and parliament members. And the President nominates Mohammad Zahid as the President of the Elections Commission of Maldives and Abdul Rahman Salah Rashid as its Vice President. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naeem. President Dr. Mohammad Moiz calls upon pertinent agencies to elevate the foreign transaction limit on debit cards issued by the Bank of Maldives (BML) to $1,500 for Umrah pilgrims traveling to Makkah, Saudi Arabia during the holy month of Ramadan this year. The foreign transaction limit stipulates the maximum amount of US dollars that can be utilized for international transactions via credit and debit cards.
President Dr. Moiz announced this initiative through a social media post, highlighting that the enhanced transaction limit will significantly benefit Umrah pilgrims undertaking their pilgrimage during Ramadan 1446. President Dr. Moiz revealed that he had petitioned the BML and the Maldives Monetary Authority MMA to raise the foreign transaction limit on debit cards for Umrah pilgrims to $1,500. According to the President, this increase is in addition to the existing limit available to BML customers. At present, BML provides a foreign transaction limit of $250 on debit cards. Under Dr. Moiz's directive, the limit for Umrah pilgrims performing their pilgrimage this Ramadan will rise to $1,750. The increased transaction limit will be available at the official exchange rate of 15.42 Maldivian rupiah. A substantial number of Maldivians travel to Makkah during Ramadan to perform the Umrah pilgrimage. According to the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, the number of Maldivian pilgrims has been steadily increasing in recent years. This decision follows the enactment of the Foreign Currency Act (Forex Act) earlier this year. The newly implemented legislation mandates that companies generating foreign revenue, including those in the tourism sector, exchange a portion of their earnings through local banks, ensuring improved regulation and control. Government statistics indicate that since the enactment of this law, companies generating foreign revenue have exchanged over $25 million through local banks within the past month. President stated that the legislation is anticipated to benefit the public through enhanced availability of foreign currency. The initiative to increase the foreign transaction limit to Umrah pilgrims aligned with President's announcement of plans to double the amount of US dollars available to Maldivians traveling abroad from Malana International Airport (VIA) during the first quarter of 2026. Currently, BML provides $500 per local passenger departing from VIA. The administration aims to increase this amount to $1,000 by early 2026 and subsequently raise credit card limits to $1,400 by the second quarter of the same year.
President Dr. Mohammad Moiz submits a letter to Parliament seeking their consultation on a proposal to reduce the salaries of officials within independent institutions, the judiciary and Parliament members. The proposal is part of the administration's economic reform and austerity measures aimed at reducing public expenditure, budget deficits and national debt. The proposal specifies that the salary reductions for officials within independent institutions, the judiciary and Parliament members will be implemented for a period of 2 years. This measures is intended to curb public spending and support the administration's broader economic reform agenda. In his letter, President Dr. Moiz outlined that the 2-year austerity plan includes a 10% reduction in the basic salaries of senior officials within independent institutions who currently earn over $778.34 per month. He has requested Parliament's constitution on his proposal, as well as on the implementation of similar salary reduction measures for staff within the judicial sector and Parliament members. Upon receipt of President's letter, Parliament forwarded it to the Public Accounts Committee for review. Prior to submitting the national budget for 2025 to Parliament, President announced his decision to implement stringent austerity measures as part of his economic reform agenda. These measures include a 10% reduction in the basic salaries of all political appointees and employees of state-owned companies, excluding banks. The President also decided to cap the maximum salary for heads of state-owned companies at $5,837.95, assuring that this decision will not affect employees who earn a monthly salary of $778.34 or less.
President Dr. Mohammad Moiz nominates Mohammad Zahid as the President of Elections Commission of Maldives, ECM, and Abdul Rahman Salah Rashid as its Vice President. The nominations of Zahid and Salah were approved by the Parliament during an extraordinary sitting on 15th January and were subsequently appointed to the ECM by President Dr. Mohammad Moiz on 26th January. The two posts were vacated after the Parliament passed to dismiss ECM Vice President Alina Shah and member Muhammad Asif following widespread allegations of corruption and abuse of power. Under the recent amendments to the Elections Commission Act, President Dr. Moiz is mandated to appoint the Vice President and President of the ECM out of the 5 members subjected to Parliament endorsement. The Parliament, during its sitting on Monday, forwarded the nominations to the Parliamentary Independent Institutions Committee for review. President Dr. Mohammad Moiz nominates Anti-Corruption Commission ACC member Ahmed Nasheed as the Vice President of the Commission. Ahmed Nasheed previously served as a member of the Police Board and a former Assistant Commissioner of Police and was appointed to the ACC on 26th January after his nomination was endorsed by the Parliament. Under the recent amendments to the Anti-Corruption Commission Act, President Dr. Moiz is mandated to appoint the Commission's President and Vice President out of the 5 members subject to Parliament endorsement. The Parliament forwarded the nomination to the Parliamentary Independent Institutions Committee for review. Ahmed Nasheed along with Abdullah Nasheed were appointed to the ACC after ACC Vice President Abdul Salam and member Toha Mohammed had resigned amid serious allegations of corruption and abuse of power. Parliament initiates the process to endorse the appointment of Tariq Ibrahim as the new Tourism Minister. President Dr. Mohammad Moiz on 1st February merged the Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy with the Ministry of Tourism to create a new Ministry of Tourism and Environment, appointing Tariq to lead the newly formed ministry. President Dr. Moiz's decision to merge the two ministries came just 5 days after he dismissed Minister of Tourism Ibrahim Faisal from his post. Faisal, who was appointed as the Minister of Tourism on 17th November 2023, has been relieved of his duties, without offering any details behind his sudden dismissal. The merging of the key ministerial portfolios, key agencies previously under the Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy, namely the Environmental Protection Agency, the Utility Regulatory Authority, the Maldives Meteorological Service, and the Biosphere Reserve Office will now operate under the newly established Ministry of Tourism and Environment with immediate effect. With this change, the newly formed ministry has assumed a responsibility for several key initiatives, including climate change mitigation efforts, environmental protection, energy, water, sanitation, waste management, tourism and biodiversity conservation. The ministry will continue its previous efforts while also integrating new responsibilities. The President is constitutionally mandated to seek Parliament endorsement for ministerial cabinet appointments and ministerial portfolio changes. In addition to environment and tourism, President Dr. Moiz has also sought Parliament endorsement for some changes to the mandate of Ministry of Higher Education, Labour and Skills Development, Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology, and the Ministry of Health. The Parliamentary Government Oversight Committee will review the appointment and mandate changes before sending it back to the Parliament for a vote.
Modi's Pension Administration Office (MPAO) introduces a scholarship program aimed at developing professionals in the financial sector.
MPAO introduces a scholarship program aimed at developing professionals in the financial sector. According to MPAO, this initiative offers an opportunity for individuals who wish to pursue higher education in fields that are critical to the financial sector in the Maldives. MPAO added that the merit-based program is fully funded and will allow students to enroll in undergraduate and graduate programs at top universities based on global university rankings. MPAO said fields of study for the program will be announced annually, prioritizing fields of study related to pension office and the broader needs of the country's financial sector. For 2025, MPAO will offer one undergraduate program with fields of study open for either financial reporting and analytics, econometrics, or actuarial science. Deadline for applications will expire on 16th March at 4 p.m., while shortlisted candidates will be interviewed between 8th to 17th April.
Bank of Maldives (BML) launches its Green Resort Financing, a facility designed to support resort investments in sustainable practices. Chairman of Crown and Champa Resorts, Hussein Afif, joined BML's CEO and Managing Director, Mohammed Sharif, to launch the new financing facility during the Maldives Association of Tourism Industry, MATI's 35th Annual General Meeting. According to BML, the Green Resort Financing Facility provides resorts with funding to implement sustainable business practices, including coastal protection, energy-efficient equipment, reforestation, and waste management. Speaking at the event, Sharif reinforced BML's commitment to supporting the tourism industry. He said that BML aims to support the tourism industry with tailored banking and payment solutions, as BML is the largest and leading bank in the country. According to him, the Green Resort Finance Facility is designed to provide resorts with the financial flexibility needed to implement sustainable solutions while ensuring operational efficiency. Under the Green Resort Financing Facility, BML said customers will receive an overdraft facility of up to 50 million MVR or 3.42 million USD with competitive interest rates of 6.5% and flexible repayments through card collections. All eyes are on French capital to see if US President Donald Trump's administration can find common ground with China and nearly 100 other nations on the safe development of artificial intelligence.
About a year after world powers reckoned with the dangers of AI in England's Bletchley Park, a wider array of countries are gathering in Paris to discuss putting the technology to work. France, eager to promote its national industry, is hosting the AI Action Summit alongside India on February 10th and 11th, with a focus on areas where Europe's second largest economy has an advantage: freely available or open source systems and clean energy to power data centers.
So we see that in the US, we are witnessing, with the advent of a new administration, so the regulation will be there. So this is a society model, and we are witnessing, the eruption of a new model from China. DeepSeek, of course, we should talk about it. But here in Europe, we're not just observers. There is the idea that we should regulate, but there is also the idea that there is another world, which is or other countries, not in the US, not China, but all over the world, and they should benefit from AI. And this is where we should have the discussion, which path we should define for AI. And this is why this summit is so important.
Mitigating labor disruption and promoting sovereignty in a global AI market are also on the agenda. Top executives from Alphabet, Microsoft, and dozens of other businesses are slated to attend. Government leaders, including US Vice President J.D. Vance, Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Guoxin, and Indian President Narendra Modi are expected to dine with select CEOs. The participation in the summit of billionaire Elon Musk, who heads the AI company Grok, was not confirmed by organizers. It was not clear whether the US will reach consensus with other nations on AI.
We have everything it takes to develop an AI that would be aligned with our values, and that's the European model. Now there is a very delicate balance to be struck between regulation that protects the citizen and not too much regulation because you've got to innovate. Well, I'm confident that this balance can be found, and probably it will be another outcome of the summit next week.
Since taking office on January 20th, President Trump has revoked former President Joe Biden's 2023 executive order on the technology, set in motion a repeat withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement, and faced congressional calls to consider new export controls on AI chips to counter rival China. Countries like France are evaluating how to implement the EU AI Act in as flexible a way as possible so it does not discourage innovation.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry says the country is ready to develop relations with Pacific Island countries, including the Cook Islands, as concerns mount in New Zealand about Cook Islands Prime Minister's visit to China this week.
The Cook Islands is a self-governing country in free association with New Zealand, which provides budget support and commits to defend the South Pacific nation, whose people are New Zealand citizens. Cook Island Prime Minister Mark Brown's visit is the first by a leader of the small South Pacific state in a decade, coming as Beijing aims to increase its influence in the Pacific region, and after some Pacific Island nations raised concerns over US President Donald Trump's freezing of foreign aid, crackdown on illegal migration, and withdrawal from the Paris Agreement on climate change. Deputy Prime Minister Winston Peters' office in a statement said that New Zealand had made repeated requests to the Cook Islands to share or consult on the contents of agreements that Brown plans to sign with China but had not received a proper response, raising significant concern. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that the China-Cook Islands relationship is not targeted at any third party and should not be subject to or be disrupted by any third party.
U.S. President Donald Trump signs a Gulf of America Day proclamation aboard Air Force One as he flew over the area he was renaming, known to others as the Gulf of Mexico. Trump was on his way to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans with a gaggle of reporters.
The Trump administration's Interior Department said last month it had officially changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, as well as the Alaskan Peak Daniel to Mount McKinley. Trump ordered the name changes as part of a flurry of executive actions hours after taking office, making good on a campaign promise.
And we're flying right over it right now, so we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
While Trump can direct the U.S. Geological Survey to change how it denotes the Gulf of Mexico, such a name change would be unlikely to be recognized internationally. Google Maps said it will change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America once it is officially updated in the U.S. Geographic Names System. The change will be visible in the U.S., but it will remain Gulf of Mexico in Mexico. Outside of the two countries, users will see both names.
Veteran defender Sergio Ramos was unveiled as Monterrey's new signing.
The former Spain international Sergio Ramos joined the Mexican side on a one-year deal. The 38-year-old made the move to Monterrey Rayados, was set to compete in the summer's expanded Club World Cup 7 months after leaving his boyhood club Sevilla. Ramos made his La Liga debut with Sevilla in the 2003-2004 season and moved to Real Madrid 2 years later, winning 22 titles with the Spanish Giants, including 5 La Liga crowns, 4 Champions Leagues and 4 Club World Cups. He spent 2 seasons at Paris Saint-Germain, where he won 2 League One titles before returning to Sevilla. Spain's most capped player also won the 2010 World Cup and 2 European Championships with Spain before announcing his international retirement in 2023.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.